Hi, this is Maurice LaMarche, and that name will mean nothing to you nor the sound of my voice, unless I become the brain from TV's Pinky and the Brain, or Calculon, the star of all my circuits from Futurama. Oh, he is a bottle, so from Futurama.
Puny human, this is Morbo the newscaster. On tonight's news, you're listening to Still Toking with on the Darkening Podcast Network. I will destroy you.
Now I'm proving that this battle I am never losing. I'm choosing to ignore the cuts and bumps and bruises.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? Welcome to another exciting episode of Still Toking with. You know who I am. Before I get to my co-host and our amazing guest, over 6 seasons, we've been blessed with some amazing guests, some legendary, some iconic. Tonight, we have an iconic legend, a true powerhouse of a guest. From stage to screen to television to everything in between. I mean, I am so excited. I don't really get excited a lot either, folks. I am so excited to chat with our guest this evening. But before we get to our guest, the man who brings flash to flashy, Mr. Jeffrey Mark.
Oh, yeah. Look at him.
Well, thank you so much. And hello, friends and fans out there. Yeah, I share Ben's great enthusiasm. It's very seldom that one gets to sit down and chat with someone who's been important to the American theater and important to American film and important to American television, and just this charming, talented woman. And rather than go on and on about her, please, would you at home or wherever you're watching and listening, please to enjoy this amazing guest we have, Starletta DuPois. Let's bring her in. There she is.
Hey, hello.
How are you, beautiful lady?
I am blessed. This is fun. I need your hat. I'm a hat girl. So.
You come out to Palm Springs. We'll go shopping together. I'll find you good stuff.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Already bringing her to Palm Springs.
Well, it's like a couple of hours away. We can have some fun together shopping.
That is true.
And you can bring me up to near Maine or outside of Boston.
Absolutely. Anytime. I live actually in America's hometown, Plymouth, Massachusetts.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So maybe we'll get a film here someday.
That part. I would love it.
Right? So welcome to the show. I mean, we chatted a little bit backstage and I just sat there in awe like I usually do. We want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us this evening. And let's get going.
You've done so much work. I mean, the list of accomplishments and parts and films and shows. Do you want to talk a little bit about how you got started and sort of, because I know it's never easy for a woman in show business. It's never easy, even harder for an African-American woman or of mixed race. How did you get started and how did you break through?
Well, it's amazing. I went to an HBCU, a historical Black college and university, Maryland State, which is now University of Maryland, Eastern Shore.
Right.
And well, I probably should go back a little further because even when I was in nursing school, I realized I was splitting myself in half. I was modeling and I was a nursing student at one of the teaching hospitals, Harlem Hospital School of Nursing in New York back in the day. And I was apparently trying to do both of it. And the nursing had to win out because of how intensive it was. And so when I left nursing school, my anatomy instructor said, well, you have the aptitude and the intellect to go into medicine. So why wouldn't you do that? So that was my plan. My dream at the time was to go into medicine, boyfriend of mine had Hodgkin's disease,
Ooh.
and I wanted to find the cure for it. And he died of it, of course. And so I was driven for that. So I talked the dean because I had no money to go to Maryland State. I had gone with some other classmates of mine from a black boarding school, Pine Forge Academy, upstate Pennsylvania, to integrate Columbia Union College in Tacoma Park. Well, it was difficult. This was after nursing school. It was difficult to be a zoology major and then you're working all night in intensive care.
Yeah, I'll bet.
I'm falling asleep in class, right? So I had to do something else. I had to figure out something else. So I called the dean, Maryland State. I told him I don't have a dime, but I'll work as many jobs as you have, because my grandmother told me education was going to be my way out. And we can kind of go back how I even would have an education, because when I was a little girl, elementary school has kindergarten to ninth grade is 10 years. I went to 9 schools in Philadelphia.
Wow.
I shouldn't even have an education, really. And my grandmother, a lady, talked to her about Pine Forge. So those folks, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, I know. I don't know anybody from kindergarten to ninth. So that in of itself should hopefully encourage somebody, because normally people would have given up. But there was something inside of me saying I wanted to be actually a little higher on the food chain. So that meant you had to graduate from high school and you needed to do something else. So I ended up getting into Maryland State, and I did work 3 jobs, but I worked smart instead of hard. I graded papers in the biology department. I worked in the library, so I could give you a book and I could also study. And then the food was awful. Like the food the kids have now, salad bars and Chick-fil-A and whoever else, on campus. And anyway, I worked for Mr. Gaines and Mr. Kane, I'm sorry. He had the campus grill, so I could cook my food. So I was good. But while I was pursuing this degree in biology, a lady used to come down from Philadelphia, Miss Sujet, and she would do theater. So I started doing plays. Of course, I didn't know what I was doing, but she said I was gifted, and I did Ennui's Medea. Hell hath no fury as a woman scorned.
Right.
And I have to smile because this happens in modern times. Jason, I helped him, steal the golden fleece. We have to leave because we're got to go into exile. And he decides he wants to get a younger version of me. Why did he do that? I made a gown for her, the crown, and had my boys, my twin boys, take it to the new young princess or queen to be. And of course, you guys know the story. The gown became inflamed, the crown. So she and her father were poisoned and died. And my sons, I killed them. So a sorcerer. And I said, oh my goodness. I had no idea how heavy a role that was, because I'm a newbie.
Right.
But the light bulb went on, and I said, artists are healers as much as I would be one in medicine, my feelings.
I agree.
And I still believe that we do. We make you laugh, we make you cry. Hopefully we make you think, and you're involved with the audience, they're involved with you, and nowadays people talk back to you on stage as they do in the movies. But anyway, I knew this was what I was going to do, but I knew I needed to get my degree before I went to New York to study. And I was in school during the civil rights movement. So when I first got to school, my first semester, Malcolm X was assassinated. And I was a part of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee by any means necessary, but you realize you don't have firepower. It's not even about that. I graduated early, going to summer school, and that was the year Dr. King was assassinated. Wow. And Robert Kennedy, 2 days after I graduated. So very much involved with the movement. I definitely needed to adopt Gandhi's perception of nonviolence. And I'm saying this because you see here what's happening out here in California and LA. That's another story. And so I got my degree. I went home to Philly. I started doing theater there. I think I am the only woman who has done all 3 roles in the Lorraine Hansberry's classic, A Raisin in the Sun.
I was going to ask about that.
Yeah, I did Beneatha in Philadelphia after I graduated. And then once I went to New York, we'll talk about that a little later too. But, then I went to New York. I used to take the train over, and I saw if I'm going to get in the water, I need to jump in the water. And I am a lifeguard and a scuba diver, so it makes sense. And I love the water. Okay. So getting there to study, and in the early 70s, oh my gracious, it was so many places.
Yes.
You could study. I mean, Henry Street with Woody King, Negro Ensemble Company, Joe Papp at the Public, Uptown, all over the place. And I, was on the job training for me because I didn't come out of Juilliard, or I didn't come out of, performing art major, but no worries, because I was blessed to work with some of the finest actors and actresses in New York. And once you know you're an artist, this is something you have to do. You don't mind being a gambler because you're gambling on yourself.
You have to.
Right.
You have to.
Yeah. And so people ask me, why didn't you play it safe? I said, I did play it safe for me. Once I knew I had a gift, why not explore it and see what it would bring? And my mom had been a dancer back in the day, and no one really wanted me in show business because they also knew what you have to go through and all. But when people said, well, why would you struggle? I said, I wasn't struggling. I was living my dream. And in New York, we would feed each other.
Oh, sure.
I had a pot. You were able to eat. You had one, I could come over to your house. We would even tell each other about auditions.
Sure.
LA is a little different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I've had to leave rooms where they started talking to me about other things, and I'm trying to stay focused on this character that I'm getting ready to audition for. And so I would go somewhere quiet. But in New York, if you book the job, I'm happy for you, because what has my name on it is what I'm going to do. So I can't take your job. I'm not jealous of people who have achieved and did. I'm happy for them. I'm excited for them, because my journey is Starletta's.
Right.
Like yours, Ben, like yours, Jeffrey. We're in our own lane.
Yep.
And if we can do and be gracious and honorable and transparent, you're going to win the race. And no, it's not an easy, it's a marathon.
But jealousy is a waste of energy.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
And the more success you have tells me there's more success available to me as well.
Exactly.
See,
And
your chronology, this is when I joined show business. So right the moment you're talking about now is when I started doing theater in New York. So I'm with you. I know some of these people like Joe Papp. We've traveled a somewhat similar course.
of
So
course,
please continue.
yeah, amazing. Because I mean, my first equity show was a Ed Bullen's house party. We did it at the American Place. Romare Bearden did the set, and he's a renowned
Yeah.
artist. And
Yeah.
I have that poster. When you come to my house, you know an artist lives here because I have posters, artwork everywhere in every room practically. Because I'm, if I see something and it speaks to my heart, of course, want to have it. And but being in New York, so House Party was my first equity show. What the Wine Cellars Buy of Ron Milner, that Woody King directed, we did at Lincoln Center, and then we did a year's tour of it. And so that's how I was getting my feet wet. And then casting people and directors and producers come to see you in New York, right? You
Right.
remember that.
Sure.
And so that's how you would get auditions for films. So my first film was The Gambler
Mm-hmm.
with James Caan. Sis Coleman came, Sis Corman
Yeah. Sis
came
Corman, you have it right.
came to see me in a play. And I had my artist friend, unbelievable artist too at that time in New York, paint me sort of a tattoo, not a tattoo to stay on. So when I went in to the director, I was going to play a woman of the evening. Tony Fargus, Huggy Bear, was my pimp, and James Caan was an obsessive gambler. So he comes uptown. But anyway, when I went into the audition, what I did was to just stroll down Broadway with hot pants and a long coat and these boots coming up to my.
Because that's what the ladies were wearing in Times Square in those days.
That's what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
And I talked to them as Jane Fonda did to the ladies when she did Clute.
Absolutely.
Because you don't want to play a caricature of anybody. Because there's a reason a woman is on the street. Other than, she will get strung out because the pain of having to do stuff that degrades you, it's not easy. But if you have a child to feed, or whatever reasons not whatever reasons, but child to feed and other necessary things to do, people will do anything to make this money. So anyway, I strolled down the street, and I had, I'm good that this is for mature audience, because I had the genitalia of a man on my leg with even cum dropping out, little drops. And when I came into the office, I laid my leg up on the man's desk. So if he didn't get it, you know what I mean? If he didn't get the memo, he should have gotten it by that. So, and it was wonderful. And,
Brilliant.
And my friends, wait a minute, he was going to give me $50. And I thought if a man paid you money, you had to do whatever he wanted you to do. No. You do what you want to do for that money. So for $50, I pulled my blouse up and I put it back down. And James Caan was incensed. And so he's screaming and hollering, da-di-da-di-da. I said, well, if you want something else, you got to pay me more money. And he's refusing. So here comes my pimp, Huggy Bear. They tussle because he pulls a knife out. And I did my own stunts too. And then I'm going to defend my man. And I'm tussling with him, and I flip over a chair, and I grab the knife, and I come back. So the last frame of the movie, I was aiming for his heart, but see, the director, I ended up slashing his face, so that there could be a sequel,
A sequel,
if he did it or not. But yeah, so that and Charles Bronson,
in Death Wish.
Death Wish,
Yes,
and
one of my favorites.
my son, and then Wolf with Nicholson and Michelle Pfeiffer. I'm talking about how I think he turns into the vampire or werewolf. No, he turns into a werewolf, and they're going through the park and they're getting ready to, I guess, rob somebody or something. And here comes the werewolf, and my son is unalive. So, but the beauty of it, I've been blessed to work with all these fabulous people. Even Butterfly McQueen, Seven Wishes of Joanna Peabody. Joanna can make 7 wishes, and as long as it isn't, harm to anybody, fine. And it was wonderful working with her. And I realized I worked with her twice because I did a movie called Amazing Grace with that Stan Lathan directed, and the comedian Moms Mabley. It was her last film, or a film she did, and I was there as her stand-in, but I was also there as a nurse. So anything you ever learn, you can use it forever. I.e., Nurse Esther in The Notebook.
Right.
Yep,
and,
The Notebook.
Doogie Howard.
Can we quickly revisit Butterfly McQueen? I knew her a little bit.
Yeah.
In the late 70s in New York City.
Yes.
Completely unaware of what an icon she was because of Gone with the Wind. Unaffected by it. Just another lady walking the streets of I mean, was that your experience with her?
Yes, very humble, very sweet, very kind. And you wouldn't know unless you had seen the movie, because that wasn't something she, was going to put in your face.
Yeah, she didn't trade on it.
She didn't. No, because her work as an actress, and she was a pioneer. I mean, because of people like her and Hattie McDaniel and Lena and
Ethel Waters,
and all, and Ruby Dee. I mean, the list goes on. And just the opportunity to work with those ladies, because Ruby and I did a movie that Woody King directed, The Torture of Mothers. And then I did Road to Galveston with Cicely. I played her 95-year-old blind girlfriend, and she took very good care of me in terms of, because they age you up. So if she saw stuff was peeling off around my mouth, she would stop the shoot and say, "You guys, you should have did her skin color and the latex in LA and not trying to, So it was amazing in terms of.
May I share a teeny piece of Cicely Tyson trivia with you?
Yes.
Her very first job in show business was being one of the imposters on To Tell the Truth, the original To Tell the Truth of Bud Collier and Kimmy Carlisle. And she couldn't say she was an actress. They made up a profession because she was one of the imposters. She wasn't the real person.
Exactly.
But that was how she got her equity, her after card from that. That's how she got her foot.
Oh, yes.
Wow.
Yes, and what an unbelievable career she had. And it was like at 96, after she had written Just As I Am, that morning she and the Lord decided, well, it's time for me to come home. because she was doing her book tour.
Right.
But she had done everything she had wanted to do. I was so blessed to see her in Trip to Bountiful here in LA, and then also there in New York.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, so it's just been amazing. I mean, for me to play Denzel's mom in Ricochet, okay, that was the first movie when I got to the premiere of the movie that I found out my stuff had been cut, or my lines. You don't hear me uttering a word. John Amos was my husband.
Yeah.
And they had the baby. A friend of mine's twins were 8 months and heavy, and you could see I'm trying to, supposedly a newborn. So a couple of movies where scenes were cut, and it is what it is. First Sunday that happened, because all my scenes with Ice Cube were dramatic, and so if you bought the DVD, you would see the outtakes. But yeah, so you just see me in church on it. That was funny.
Do you have any
So-
specific memories of working with John Amos? Because he was a fine actor, drama and comedy.
Yes.
And he was also a little
Amazing.
bit of a scoundrel on sets. So do you have any remembrances of that?
No, because he was very respectful. He was very respectful of me, so I didn't know that part. But
Well,
I knew,
not in a bad way. Just
no.
he was a
But I
man
mean,
who
of
let you
course.
know he was a man.
Yes, of course. And I'm trying to think how I presented myself that kind of would do this, keep folks off of you or away from you. But I was proud of the stance he took on Good Times.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
that Esther Roll, and that's another diva that I played Ruth a lot in A Raisin in the Sun. My first Walter Lee was Glenn Turman, Travis, and when we did it in New York, Travis was a little boy. Well, they usually will have two children.
Right.
Yeah.
And my Travis ended up being Tupac. He wasn't Tupac then. But I always had an affinity for him, even as he, got older and went to the high school, I think, of performing arts and whatever, and went on. Really gifted.
That casting director had a good eye.
Yes.
Mhm.
Can we talk about the play A Raisin in the Sun for just a half a second? Because we've mentioned it several times here, and I may not be right, but was it not the first Broadway show that really showed African Americans being middle-class people looking to improve their lives without any of the nonsense and the prejudice? Just this family is growing.
Wanting a better life, to get to Clybourne Park, to have their own home.
Right.
And to get out of the confines of this tiny apartment where all these people are trying to navigate. Yes. And blessed to do Ruth with, we did it in New York. And the critics said that Ruth came off the wallpaper because they could see some fire and stuff in her. And I actually got a Hirschfeld caricature as a result.
You were wonderful in that. I saw it.
And I'm like speechless now.
You
Wow.
were absolutely wonderful, because Rosetta Lenoir said, go see this. Go learn. So I was a young actor looking to, soak up. And I had loved the play. I had studied it in college, and it was important to me. I knew the play really well. to go see an actress of your talent do it. You know, we're talking about a part that Ruby Dee played, and I'm not comparing or contrasting either, because you were very different in the part, both of you.
Yeah.
But you each had a reality that worked, and I just so enjoyed it.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing, because we went on to go to the Kennedy Center,
Yeah.
and Esther Roll and Delroy Lindo. Because when we were in New York at the, maybe that was the American Place too. Jim Pickens, who has gone on to do Grey's Anatomy and a lot of other wonderful things. But Glenn Turman was supposed to do it at the Kennedy Center, but his son was murdered out here.
Oh.
And so Delroy did it there. And then when we came out here to the Wilshire, Delroy did it. And then when we did it for American Playhouse, Danny Glover. So we have it on film for the American Playhouse, and they show it now in the schools, which is great. And so having the opportunity to do Ruth, and then I learned that if you want to do a play, you don't audition on tape. You need to physically be there.
I agree.
And I found that out with having our say. I wanted to go to the McCarthy Theater to do Bessie, and it just didn't translate. And when I talked to the producer there, she said, "Starletta, I know your work." I said, "Well, I learned a lesson." So when I heard that they were going to do Raisin, now I'm old enough to do Lena. They were going to do Raisin in Manchester, England. I flew myself on my own dime to go to New York to audition for Michael Buffon. Now, there were some of my colleagues there asking me, "What are you doing here?" I said, "Excuse me, I started here." I started here.
Right.
And and it was amazing because he had the paperback of the 25th anniversary version in his hand with pictures and all of that. And he didn't realize until I think he turned a page. He said, "Oh my God, you've played Ruth." But I went in there as Lena. And the beauty of that play, to be able to not involve, but to embody all three of those women is amazing in and of itself.
Very few actors would have the opportunity
to do that,
to grow in their career, to play the same play and do 3 generations of people. That's mind-blowing to me.
It is mind-blowing. And still would do the Ruskin Theater out here did it in a tiny theater. And so one of the things that I see, that when I'm in a project with people, they go on to do fabulous things. All of my Walter Lees are major stars. All of my, even here, there's a young man that he played Walter Lee. And of course, all those in Manchester. Manchester is a port city. And so the Royal Exchange, they turned into a theater, but you could still see the last time when cotton was coming in to the port. What, the numbers were and all. And just to have that experience. Also doing it in Alaska. I filled in for someone who had a death in the family. And since I already did it my friend who's a costume designer said, "Oh, okay, go on up there, learn it real quick." But it's in your spirit, these characters, these men that you've portrayed, these women that I've been blessed to portray. I may not remember somebody's name, but I can remember lines. Even projects where I didn't book the job, I had to memorize the line in order to audition, right?
May we discuss a playwright who's an absolute favorite of mine, August Wilson.
Oh, yes.
Who is so important to Broadway itself, to African American culture itself.
Yes.
Because he obviously, I'm not African American. I can't say he successfully captures American African American culture, but it looks like he does. And the actors who have been in it think he did. You got a chance to be in a show and then something happened. Can you tell that story?
Yes. Well, actually, can we digress a moment? Because my first Broadway play was Richard Wesley's Mighty Gents.
Right.
Yep.
Dorian Harewood, that was just back on Broadway because they made The Notebook into a musical. And Morgan Freeman and I were nominated.
Yes,
but our play didn't stay open long enough to be voted on. I was so shocked. My first time out the shoot that I would get nominated for Tony.
Yeah, for those who aren't following, she means this beautiful lady was nominated for a Tony Award.
The Antoinette Perry Award.
Absolutely, yes.
Oh my goodness. And what a joy and a blessing, for that. And Hirschville again got me and the gents, Morgan, I think Richard Gant and Dorian Harewood in that one. And so
for those of our friends out there, just in case you don't know what we're talking about, Al Hirschfeld was a caricaturist.
Yes.
Who worked almost exclusively for the New York Times. If you were anybody on Broadway, you got a caricature done by him. There's an entire museum devoted to his work. And this lady was drawn several times by him. It is an enormous honor. And I just want you guys to know that.
And his daughter, if he puts a Nina somewhere on you.
Yeah.
That speaks volumes too of your work. And so for the gents, I have it in my sweater arm, and then for Ruth in the iron. Just that one by myself. And I did purchase it to pass on. But so Mighty Gents was a beginning of wonderful things. And then I was blessed to do I'm the original Bernice in August Wilson's piano lesson. Before that had happened, I replaced Angela Bassett at the Seattle rep for Joe Turner's Come and Gone. So I've been blessed to do 4 of his plays, but she was going to take it to Broadway. But I was going to, I played Martha Pentecost. But August chronicled the African-American story 100 years worth. So different ones came out. Fences came out first. Then I think Joe Turner's Come and Gone. But anyway, Yale Rep, they were doing piano lesson, starting the journey. And Rock Dutton was doing Crocodile Dundee. So Samuel L. Jackson was my first boy, Willie. I can tell you he was magnificent. One, he's a team player. Because when we got to Boston, they said rock was doing a star turn, meaning it was him and everybody else. And August's plays are basically ensemble
Absolutely.
work. It was amazing to do. And August is our Shakespeare. That's what our community speaks of. And so you not only are learning your lines, you're learning the dialect, because the folks come from the South and migrated up to Pittsburgh and wherever else. But you had to find your song. And a lot of his words are repeated more than once. Having a reason to get up in the morning. You hear that interweave through a number of his plays. Brilliant, gone too soon, but sometimes, well, I believe God has us all here for a rhyme and a reason and a purpose.
Yep.
And August's journey and job was to tell our stories over a period of 100 years, starting with
Fences
that he put out all the way to radio golf. And I'm smiling because I had an opportunity at St. Louis Black Rep to do King Headley II. Okay, I can promise you as an actor, if you're doing August, you don't need to be doing it can't overlap with anything else. Because I was doing a play before it hits home. Then when we open, I'm rehearsing Ruby in King Headley.
Wow.
Opening night, I was glad I was in St. Louis too, because the critic said, this woman is trying to find these lines, okay? And I'm pulling it off as best I can. I found my song in the weeks, afterwards, but it was a struggle because I'm performing in one and I'm rehearsing another. So I'm not going to get all the rehearsal time that I would normally get, because if I'm performing Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, Saturday I have a matinee and an evening and a Sunday matinee, and I would be going to, so Saturday was out. Basically Friday was out or very little rehearsal. And then Sunday I'm leaving the play and I'm coming in to rehearse Ruby.
Reminds me of my summer stock days, and it's not easy.
That's what I'm talking about. Back to back to back to back. And you're trying to figure out, okay, who am I? My Ruby or who? You trying to, you know what I mean?
What's my reality right now? Yes.
Yes. And so I wanted to have an opportunity to play Ruby again. It's a little too late now, but I've been blessed. I saw the students at USC, Michelle Shea directed them, and then they took it to the National Black Theater Festival. You know, we have every 2 years in Winston-Salem, which is wonderful. And I've gotten okay to do Ted Lang is an unbelievable historian, as well as he is, the Love Boat, on the Love Boat. But I did a play of his that was remarkable about the raid on Harper's Ferry. And see, one thing too, with theater, we learn so much history when we're working on projects that we didn't know before, because of the research you need to do, for you to be authentic and organic and real. You want to be truthful. People ask me, well, what method? Stanislavski or Meisner or this or that? I said, my thing is, if you believe I'm telling you the truth, and Starletta has disappeared, and you see this woman, Bernice, you see Nurse Esther, you see whoever I've been, right. Whitney's mom, giving her bad
I was going to say that. Yeah. I was going to say that, I mean, we've talked almost 50 minutes about, your theater performances. So folks, I think we're going to have to do like a 3-part series with Starletta to get all the amazing accomplishments that this woman has done.
Before we walk away from theater, though, may I embarrass you, because you won't bring it up, but I will. The National Black Theater Festival, you got a Living Legend Award.
Yes.
That's rare as hen's teeth and completely deserved.
Thank you. And it's humbling because you hope that your audience or your colleagues would appreciate and respect the work. I didn't come into this to be rich and famous, because if I had, I wouldn't have left piano lesson on its journey to Broadway to go home to take care of my father, who was dying of cancer. And the doctors gave my father 6 months. I believe unconditional love gave him 2 years, because my father needed to see what that looked like. And no regrets. If you respect my work, which I appreciate, I'm being here right now, that's all I've ever wanted. And God has always made a way for me to be able to not only survive, overcome, but to blossom. And when I moved out here, I bought a house where I could afford, and not trying to keep up with colleagues or Joneses. And folks were saying, oh, you live in a modest neighborhood. I said, yeah, but now here it is 29 years later. Ask me about the equity now. This puppy can take care of me. I don't have to be in a nursing home. I mean, I can stay in my own house.
Right.
And so, and I love and admire my sister Epatha, that took over the role of Bernice, did a fabulous job. She was nominated, went on to do Law and Order, Lackawanna Blues. Oh God, she was fabulous in that. And now Chicago Med.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not too late for me to get a series or something, I would suspect.
Oh, it's never too late.
You're giving us a good segue. The last few minutes we have here, yeah, we need to do like more parts on this.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I said, she's done theater and TV and film. We literally could do a 3-part series just on that, and then a 4th part on the awards that she's received. I mean, folks, you are literally watching a true legend in entertainment here tonight. For some of you that are probably sitting there scratching your head going, she looks so familiar. Yes. Friday After Next, Big Mama's House, First Sunday, the Jeffersons. I mean, she's done everything. Hill Street Blues, Chips. But she has a new movie coming up.
Yeah, let's get to that, please.
Called One Battle
After Another.
Let's talk a little bit about that.
Oh my gracious. Art imitating life, because the days I worked on that film, the day I started working, my grandson was born. And Tiana Taylor comes home 9 months pregnant, ready to burst. Leonardo is the baby daddy, as they put it. Tiana Taylor is my granddaughter. Regina Hall is my daughter. So she has the baby there. She decides, and I'm telling Leonardo, well, the trailer's out, so you see that in the trailer. I said, baby, you're not qualified, because she comes from a long line of revolutionaries. And I had an opportunity when we were shooting it to share my time at Maryland State fighting the Klan. Okay. So I've been, a revolutionary forever. And anyway, but Leonardo DiCaprio, who's a sweetheart, beekeeper, Benicio del Toro
Oh,
is
wonderful.
his sensei. Sean Penn is an antagonist. Tiana Taylor, Regina Hall, I think Wood Harris, and then this young baby that plays my great granddaughter, Chase Infinity Payne. And what is so amazing, I worked 3 days on this movie. This is a big budget movie. 115 million. Okay. At first, I wasn't going to do it because the money they were offering me. And then there was something that I needed to pay, and they offered me a little more, and it would cover that. I said, boom, I'll do it. But not only that, I wanted the opportunity again to work with somebody I admire. And very humble, very sweet, we had a great time. And then me bringing solace to my granddaughter who wants to just go off and on with her life. And then Regina Hall is going to take the baby. So I'm dealing with a 3-month-old baby and a 6-month baby, serenading her. So I don't know what is left in, because the directors and editors decide how much is left in the film.
Yeah.
But the favor that I took it, making that choice, again, yes, actors should be paid their worth. But there are times when I will do a project for damn near nothing because of the work. I'm really about the work.
When can our friends and fans go
the
see
26th of September, it comes out. But the trailer, when you go to see other movies, like when I went to see Sinners, which is fabulous. Want to work with him. Ryan Coogler. Ryan, give you a little shout out. The trailer was there. So people are telling me, Auntie Star or Mama Star, I see you in the trailer, because my voice is one that you're going to recognize for the most part.
Right.
Sometimes people think I'm a man, and I have to tell them I have a sultry voice like Lauren Bacall.
Absolutely.
Or Catherine. You guys need to get over it, right? So anyway, but yeah, it comes out in September. And because the trailer was out in April and still going on, Oscar buzz is circling around this. I am sure. And again, just happy. And I hope people love the work of all of us, not just Starletta. And I'm with Oscar winners. 3 of them are Oscar winners. Sean,
Is this your 20th film?
I don't know.
Something like that.
And I don't know. I think I might have done more than 20. I have to look on IMDb or something.
Do you have a favorite?
Wow.
The
Notebook is high in the list. The Notebook is high. For comedy, normally I don't cuss in a movie or use the N-word. And I wore all of it out in Friday After Next. And I had much fun. I had so much fun because comedians think dramatic actors, they don't realize that we have comedic chops too. So they were surprised. I could give as good as I get.
Because I was going to ask you about the Jeffersons, which is, 3 camera in front of a live audience. You got 4 days from the first read through to performance. What was that experience like for you?
That was amazing, because Dick Anthony Williams played my husband, and he was one of my first acting teachers down at Henry Street with Woody King. And then I looked up to Sherman. I had seen him. In fact, one of the first plays I saw on Broadway was Pearlie.
Wonderful. He was wonderful on that.
Yeah. And Baby Girl was Lulabelle, Justin May Jenkins, Melba
Moore.
Moore, and all of the people there, and Isabel Sanford. I mean, these were people that I looked up to, and their work. So
do you have a chance to work with my friend Marla Gibbs?
Yes, and her daughter was as AFI Angela,
right?
And Marla, we did The Last Breeze of Summer, which my niece played my daughter. Richard Gant played my husband. Marla was in that movie. Her birthday is Saturday. She'll be 94/39.
That's right, 39.
I've had the pleasure of singing happy birthday to her for her birthday, and I admire her greatly.
And she did so much here in LA. She put her money where her mouth was. She had the Vision Theater. It now belongs to the city. Her Crossroads. She had and Marla Gibbs' Memory Lane.
Right.
I was able to sing there, and she did so much for the Los Angeles community. And I'm glad that she's receiving her flowers. We all chipped in to make sure that star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame that most of you people believe is free.
Oh, no.
50 grand, honey. 50. So Norma Lear did put some in.
Right.
And then we just love her and knew. And somebody asked me if I ever wanted one. I said, wow, that could pay a kid's tuition. So a network or a studio would have to pay it.
Yeah, these days it's 50 grand plus a corporate sponsor on top of that.
Really?
For upkeep and stuff, yeah.
Oh, that's right. See, so we'll see if that ever happens. But if it does, you'll know that somebody else did it. Because my thing is, if I can help get young people into school and they graduate, because everybody wants to be a little higher on the food chain. And having, as my grandmother say, that piece of paper does that for you, whatever you choose to end up doing.
Right.
You know, and we're fighting for minimum wage that would go up because folks need to survive.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You shouldn't have to mortgage your house to buy eggs. That's not necessary.
No. So,
no,
and just
decide you may not eat them for a minute.
Right. Just to let you know, she's appeared in over 50 movies.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do my research.
And then, I mean, I've appeared in one, and there's one I'm still waiting to get paid. SAG, illustrious union. We won the arbitration, but they do not enforce. So I would have to go to Florida, get a lawyer to get my salary plus the penalties and interest.
Talk to Fran
another one that was a labor of love. I got a chance to go to Haiti and have a Creole accent.
Wow.
So this life is interesting, isn't it? But see, and that's what I say, when it gets a little tight financially, I mean, my bills are paid and all, but the extras, I know how to live great on any kind of money.
That's a part of our business.
Huh?
Everyone thinks that all of us in the business are rich. Most of us live middle-class lives and have to learn how to handle our money.
Yeah. Because we didn't do the IRAs or the 401k, all of those goodies that if I had been in corporate America or even taught all those. My girlfriend taught math for over 40 years in the New York school system. And she has the you know, she has all of those accoutrements.
Yeah, they pay
But
very
I
well.
have God, and He takes care of me, and I pay tithes,
There you go.
and
There
my
you
money
go.
gets stretched. And here comes a residual, like The Notebook, still comes in strong 20 years later.
Mm-hmm.
That first residual, another woman that was in the movie Big Mama's House, well, that from The Notebook, but when we got our first residuals from Big Mama's House, she fell to her knees in the bank because it was five digits. How do you say that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it
Yeah.
was, yeah.
No,
Oh.
I had a friend of mine who was a producer and was just getting started as a producer. And he did theater. He was gone for 6 months. And he came home and I showed him his mail and we opened up his residual checks. It came to almost $500,000. He had no idea it paid so well. And that got him started being financially independent. But
Wow.
back to you. You're much more important than my little story.
What, $500,000?
Yeah, I know. And I only know
that would
because
be the cushion.
I was there opening up the envelopes. I was handing them. He was going to throw them away. He thought it was just information from the union. It's like, look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this.
But on the top somewhere it says residual. So he did that was for acting or for
producing, directing. And we ate very well that night. We went out for a large, it was one of those, let's order everything on the menu because we can afford this.
That part. Yes, of course. And there are times when you really should, you've been so constrained in terms of doing the right thing financially. But there are times when you have that extra and you want to, like for my birthday is next month. I want to go to New York and see a number of these plays. And so we'll see, how that's going to happen.
Well,
but it's
I vote for you going.
Okay.
Me too. And I'm going to say happy early birthday.
Thank you. And that the water is fine up here. 84 is a great number.
Oh, 48?
No.
I never would have guessed.
I wouldn't.
Ben, should I
be 48 again?
Should I sing happy birthday to her, Ben?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Starletta. Happy birthday to you.
Oh my goodness, that's what I'm talking about. Thank you, sweetheart.
My pleasure.
Goodness.
We are a little over time, folks, which is fine because we're having such a blast with Starletta, but we don't want to keep her all night because she's important and she has things that she has to do as well. So, Mr. Jeffrey Mark, do you have any last questions for our amazing guest?
Will you adopt me?
You beat me to it.
And you know what's so amazing? At 55, I adopted my son who was 4 years old. So sure, I would adopt you.
God bless you, my friend. God bless you. No, you're an inspiration to women, to African Americans, to actors, and to humans. And I'm so happy you're here today. So no question, just love.
I'm sorry.
No question for you, just love.
Oh, I appreciate that. It's such a joy to be here with you in a safe place.
Yeah.
That, we all can just be who we are. And I see this little note you put here to go up there. Yeah.
In the private chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And please say hello to Jeff Holman for us because he's watching. He's not here, but he's looking. So just
hi Jeff, baby. How you doing, sweetie?
There you go. Thank you.
Yeah, that's our other co-host. It's on vacation with his wife, his camp, hiding in the woods.
Which is a good thing.
Absolutely. We all have to do it.
Self-care is so important.
Absolutely.
So each of
Absolutely.
you make sure you do something like that or whatever it is that would bring you joy,
You know what?
happiness, and peace.
Doing this is self-care for me.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. That's one thing. And I have planned a family trip at the end of next week where I'm taking my wife, 3 of my 6 children. So one of my sons, his girlfriend, my 2 daughters, and my 2.5-year-old granddaughters. We're going to Vermont, and we're going to go dress up and hang out at a Renaissance fair for the day.
Oh, that's going to be awesome.
It's going to be so much fun. They have so many activities for young children. I just think my granddaughters and my family in general, but my granddaughters are really going to enjoy it. So there's that's
so
my
have you all decided what she's going to be, who she's going to be?
Yeah, actually, both my granddaughters are going to be little princesses. I bought their dresses, and they have little flower headbands that go with them. They're going to look so adorable. My wife is going to be some sort of princess version. My daughters, they're just Renaissance-y dressing, and my son and I are warriors.
Okay.
Yeah,
and
it's going to be fun.
And I have enormous plans for later. I'm going to walk from my office into my bedroom and watch I Love Lucy. It's a glamorous life.
Well, you know what? Guess what? And if it brings you joy, that's the glamour.
Right.
Absolutely. My car is in the shop. I can't go anywhere, and I'm just going to enjoy being home.
Yeah, that part. What's the temperature there today?
It is currently, I turned my phone off, about 106.
Okay.
Ooh,
no, not bad.
Man.
Air conditioning. Yeah. Palm Springs.
Brilliant air conditioning, and I'm serious. You need to come out here. We need to go shopping together.
Okay, because my friends have, and I don't know if they still are there, but Richard and Kathy Rice. He's we have LA Black Underwater Explorers, LaBuie, and so he's our president. But they have a home there, and so we, my brother and I, years ago drove down. For their 50th wedding anniversary, something like that. Yeah, so cool. I look forward to. Yeah.
No, I'll take you to where the sparkles are. I promise.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you.
No, that's not what she said, though, Jeffrey. She said she wanted your hat.
No, I wouldn't do that. No, Ben.
And she couldn't get it.
I was trying to get you your hat.
I know.
But I can show you where you can get one.
I could tell. You see what I'm saying? I could tell. That hat's not going anywhere.
No, but I will take you where you can get one just like it. How's that?
Okay, see? That's fair.
All right, I'll let that slide, Jeffrey.
You let that one slide. Okay.
I just want to say to all our viewers and listeners, wherever you're watching or listening to us, make sure you check the show notes up above or down below. All the information about Starletta and her amazing career and links are all there. Don't forget to check out the upcoming movie in September. The trailer is out. You can find it. I found it. I saw it. I don't know what to tell you. I'm just going to tell you that. So, Starletta, where do you like interacting with your fans on social media?
I have to become a big girl because people will put me on different platforms, but I only go on if something, I just click in to see what's going on with someone else. So I get the young ones need to help mommy get revitalized on social media so she knows what she's doing. Yeah.
So that's a great answer. I love it.
It's called Help. Sound like the Beatles, huh?
Right.
You need somebody help.
Hey, Mr. Jeffrey Mark.
Hey, just as it's spelled right there, just as that's spelled on Facebook, on Instagram, it's Jeffrey Mark Showbiz, all one word. I'm on LinkedIn as Jeffrey Mark. I have my other podcast, Jeffrey Mark Plays Ella, which is soon going to become a video podcast
Oh, wow.
with this guy over here being producer. And
Wait a minute. I'm seeing something in your office, a statue.
the Miami Award. I'm an Emmy winner and a Grammy nominee, but they don't care about that. They care about you. So
I care about you.
Thank you, dear. I care about you too. Anyway, you can find me on those social media places. Listen to my other podcast, Be With Us, every week. And what else can I say? I am honored this week to have our guests. So God bless and have a happy. And back to you, sir.
So, yeah, I mean, like Mr. Jeffrey Marks said, it was an honor to have Starletta here this evening. Like I've said at the beginning of the show, over 6 years, we've had amazing guests, some iconic, some legendary, but to have an iconic legend in our midst this evening to talk about an amazing career, we were truly blessed. We want to thank you, Starletta, for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us. To all our veterans and first responders, we want to thank you for doing what you do so people like us can come up here and do what we do.
Yes.
Stay safe. We'll see you next week. We're out of here.
Okay.
Bye.
God bless.